Hey. Guys, welcome to my channel. This is a story of what if Sasuke regrets his decisions and want to make atonement for his sin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, it will surely help me, and also it will notify you on my upcoming videos, and check the description for the creator of this great fanfic. Thank you. Now let's start the story. Chapter 10. The first one. Konohagakure Naruto was still sad about the whole going back to Konoha. If it wasn't for Kakashi promising them to have more training, they would have stayed a bit longer. Nami was utterly liberated from Gato's control. They went and liquidated the assets, and splitted the spoils equally, although Kakashi and Sasuke were less than enthusiastic about the entire retirement thing, and Naruto would not retire before she became the Hokage on her own terms. They didn't even know that Tazuna named the bridge in honor of Uzushio. The Great Uzushio Bridge was one of the many heroic deeds of one blonde Uzumaki girl. Sasuke had no idea how it changed a lot, but he knew that he would have to be careful. Just the idea of fighting was dreadful. Most if not all his jutsus were made to kill, not even restrain. The Shunshin. Shunshin was AD rank, but an Uchiha's Sharingan negated the side effects of tunnel vision. That would be a good thing, it seems. Then he remembered the entire spar and glanced at Naruto's direction. Kakashi used the shadow clones thing to an amazing degree. So far, the girl had an amazing jutsu repertoire of wind, earth and water release. Not a lot, but a few B ranked, C ranked was a good thing. Oh, that a ranked Daibikufu. She really wished to have more jutsus, but one can't have everything. Wind was rare, and Sasuke realized that the only place for real jutsus was either a private tutor, or the library. He chose the second. Maybe he will have a good idea. Nay, Kakashi-sensei, is there any good wind user you know? Sasuke asked Kakashi, who raised an eyebrow. The Uchiha glanced at his girlfriend, who sighed. Why was Sasuke so kind to her? Oh right. He loved her and she had no idea how to repay him. Well, there's one, but I highly doubt he would be of any help. But I think that I can buy his book. He had a good repertoire of jutsus. Maybe you would improve them, Naruto. Who, me? I don't know. I mean, I have a few ideas, but without enough exercises. I doubt that I can. Actually, remember that guy who you made me visit in the hospital? The one who was shredded like he fell into an oversized blender. Naruto asked Kakashi, who sighed. He showed her the risks of wind chakra manipulation. She had to visit someone in the hospital who wasn't ready. And he tried to make his own wind jutsu. Yeah, he was attempting to make a cutting tornado, and he failed miserably. Atsugai, Daitapa and Repusho are enough for now. However, there's a book I know about. With it, if you can refine your wind chakra, then I think that we're going to have an amazing asset for the exam. Kakashi explained as Sasuke nodded. He didn't even know how much Hanseal's Danzo removed from their future fight. While he remembered many jutsus he copied, he wasn't sure that he can use fire and wind. He tried a combination as such with Naruto, and the two C-ranked jutsus became a freaking A-rank. Maybe that day they lucked it out when they used two B-ranked Kaden and Futon jutsus. Atsugai and Goku Mekyaku at the same time. Emergency only, thank you very much. They evaporated the sea itself. Sasuke, I think that we're compatible, you know. I mean, only wind can make fire stronger. Naruto observed as he nodded in agreement. Are we destined to be soulmates? Who knows? He replied as she gave him an unimpressed look. Are you joking with me? She asked, and he chuckled. You bet I was. Who else then? He replied as Kakashi chuckled perversely. What? Sasuke and Naruto, surprisingly, asked in unison. This is so good. You are an amazingly cute couple. Oh, and I'm Sasuke's best man, or Naruto's father figure. I'm calling this first. Kakashi replied as they both blushed. Of course. He already thought about their wedding. Pray none of us die before that day. Sasuke replied dejectedly. Oi, stop being a forlorn tem for once. Naruto replied as Sasuke smirked. Here comes her soon part. No can do. He teased. What's so good on you? You're always dark, grim, loyal, nice to me. Kind too, sweet, supportive. Damn. I can't help it. Naruto blushed as he smirked. The dear part was always there. Tsunere-chan. He called. What, Yandere-kun? She replied as he smiled. That fits. The rest of the trip was tree jumping, extra awareness and shifts whenever they sleep. Naruto took first, Sasuke first too, Kakashi the later. Also, He noticed that when he made Sasuke sleep when Naruto was away, the boy had nightmares. Many judging by his tossing, and his sudden waking up. Since then, he made them share their tent, and Sasuke slept like a log, just like Naruto. Well, he napped more than slept. As they approached the gates of Konohagakure, Naruto finally relaxed enough to talk to Sasuke. It was dawn already. A Sunday dawn, which it means that it was their day of resting. Sasuke, do you have anything to do today? Naruto asked the Uchiha, who shook his head. Well, I was planning to visit our comrades. After all, I owe them an ass-kicking, you know. Maybe tomorrow. He shrugged, or hanging out with Hina-chan. Like her cousin is a dick. That we both agree upon. Sasuke grunted again. Say, ever wondered about Konoha mistreating their heroes? Uchiha Madara won them the first war almost single-handedly, killing the first Raikage, Tsuchikage, Mizukage. Hatake Tsukumo driven to suicide over one failed mission, to protect his teammates, like their so-called will of fire, which they made us believe. The Yondaime sacrificed his life for them, and look how they treated you, his daughter. Yeah. Sasuke replied as Naruto sighed dejectedly. She didn't want to be so cynical, yet she found herself really doubting. Sasuke, when did you knew about these? Kakashi asked the Uchiha, who sighed. I had my suspicions. I saw his picture, and I was shocked when I looked Saint Naruto. Then I read Mom's journal about a certain Uzumaki Kushina. I went to the library, in Tada. I was going to ask, but then I was afraid that Itachi would. Then I remember everything. He was crying that night as he looked at me. Itachi never cry unless it is a serious matter. Also, I read my grandpa's journal about your dad. He said that it was an utter bullshit if the village is the best one, as it was a disgusting show of hypocrisy and self-interest. Village mode guys. Sasuke was extremely talkative outside of Konoha, as if he was expecting. Oh. He was right. Everything seems too perfect. Everything just fits like an invisible puzzle. The problem was how to make sure that everyone sees how strong his genins were. Well, making them chunins will not be enough. Naruto must invent her own jutsu. Sasuke already made a lot of variation of the Chidori, even going as much as making a Reikiri Chidori variant that connects their lightning together like a horizontal sweeping lightning bolt from hell that cut anything in its path. Naruto needed to move her ass a bit. Kakashi know that Naruto was just the best kunoichi, and he have no doubts that her progress almost rivaled Sasuke. That root binding and chakra chain covered in wind chakra. It took an amazing talent. She managed to get it done fast enough to beat a Jonin. Tired or not, Zabuza of all people was no slouch at all. He was an A rank. Which means that Kakashi had to up his training. Complacency leads to death. Okay, you two do whatever you want. Go on a date, hang out with some friends, rest. Whatever. But first, we go to Hokage-sama and report everything. Naruto, no showing anything about your knowledge of your heritage to anyone, not even Hinata. Kakashi warned as they were almost at earshot. Now they all nodded their eyes vertically before they went into the gate, then they shunshined to the Hokage's office. Later, I see. Thank you, Kakashi. Team 7, I am proud of you for completing an A-rank mission. Naruto, Sasuke, I think that the two of you might very well have earned your Chunin promotion. You can decline or postpone it, however, I urge you two not to. Naruto-chan, you saved your team from a threat, even unconsciously. Sasuke-kun, you kept your head and managed to turn the table with your tactical mind. Now then, you two can accept or decline. If you do accept, you might be separated, unless Kakashi-kun here make you two his official apprentices. Hiruzen told the team, who were shocked, and then it hit Sasuke. Last time they could have done nothing. However, field promotion was not that rare, considering the astronomical number of Chunin. Good lord, they managed to make a huge difference in less than 3 months. I think that I would love to keep them, Hokage-sama. It would be a huge shame if they would not be a team. Like, they're really attached to each other. So attached, in fact, I hardly think that we can separate them. Kakashi replied as the two looked straight each other. Naruto beamed at Sasuke and he smiled back. They both nodded before they looked at the old Hokage. We gratefully accept and appreciate your generous offer, Hokage-sama, but we request a bit of time before being ready physically and mentally to lead teams. We'd like to remain within Team Kakashi for a few more years if you don't mind. The pair spoke in unique synchrony, that Kakashi and Hiruzen were extremely shocked. How come? Only a few pairs could be doing so, to speak the exact same words, the exact same time. Was Sasuke using his Sharingan? No, his eyes were onyx. Hold on a second, they looked at each other straight in the eyes, which it means. They had this conversation. Naruto-chan, Sasuke-kun, did you two practice this before? Hiruzen asked and Sasuke nodded while smirking. Naruto might have a short attention span, but she can easily have an amazing memory. Sometimes. The kinesthetic learner was just. Well, she had to rehearse it only 10 times. Well, he told me that you might have a successor in mind, Hokage Jichin. Naruto replied as she blushed in embarrassment. Okay, Naruto-chan, I have something important to tell you. It's your parents' last words, legacies, and I have to tell you in private. Hiruzen told the girl who sighed in discomfort. Hokage-sama, Kakashi-sensei is like my older brother, if not a father to us. Sasuke-kun is the best thing that ever happened to me. My boyfriend, my teammate, you know that feeling about that person you can never feel bored with. That person who you'd wait years for. That person you'd feel that he would really be ready to protect you. Sasuke is that person. Whatever secret you would tell me, I will repeat to him later. So, yeah. Naruto replied before she narrowed her eyes. Only they get the privilege, anyone else would probably be talking about my secrets. She then had a distinct memory of saying a small white lie to Sakura, Ino, Kiba. The next Monday, she laughed at the entire classroom repeating said lie. Shino, Shikamaru and Hinata were trustworthy, Choji would tell Shikamaru, and it would be depending on the lazy ass. Sasuke however never repeated any secrets she told him, whenever they sparred together. He even was. Well, last year she remembered how he carried her to her house on his back. After a brutal fight with his fangirls. She didn't even know why he did so, as he was quiet as a grave. She kept that a secret. When they returned the next Monday, she met him, and he gave her a grateful look at the end of the day. It was a single time breaking his cold indifference mask. Once or twice. 3 times, considering the Gamma-chan wallet. Then one day he had that headache, confessed to her, while she was utterly convinced that it was a prank. However, him helping her out, led to her being field promoted. That was just so. Only someone who really loved her would do that. I think that you are now ready to hear about your parents. But please keep in mind, this is a Class S secret, so please don't tell anyone who is not trustworthy. Naruto-chan, I don't know how to apologize to you, for the mistreatment and scorn and the prejudice you suffered from. Your father's last wish was for you to be seen as the heroine you deserve to be. Alas, people are really dumb en masse. I executed many, Kakashi, and an ex-Anbu did the same. Unfortunately, that didn't change their opinion. Hiruzen started before he sighed and he dreaded this exact reveal. But it's gone now. They can't hurt me any longer. Also, Kakashi-sensei and Sasuke-kun are all the family and team I need. Also, who knows? Maybe the team will grow bigger, so, we'll see, won't we? Naruto replied maturely. It was rare for her to show her wisdom beyond her age, but it was the right thing to do now. She was a chunin, no longer a brat. She became a true ninja. Sasuke was happy how he helped her getting closer to her dream. I see. You are really unpredictable, Naruto-chan. Well, I think that I should tell you, this may very well be a shock to you about your parents' identity, but they had a will, that I must reveal it only when you're at least a solid chunin in rank. Hiruzen replied and she nodded. Sasuke's eyes widened by 3 millimeters as he realized now the true reason why it was never revealed to her. It was because of Jiraiya. His mockery of a training trip, him molding her to remain a dependent weakling instead of the SS-ranked shinobi. That did it. He was gonna butcher that fucker, and fuck the consequences. Your mother was Uzumaki Kushina, an amazing lady, and a splendid kunoichi. She was a terrifying ninja if I say so. Your father was the Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Hiruzen told the girl who sighed. She already knew, but she had one question. Say Gigi, why did he have to seal the fox inside of me? Why? Why did he throw me to hell? Naruto asked desperately. She really wished that her father had an excuse, any excuse. The old Hokage sighed dejectedly as Kakashi had a bleak look in his eye and Sasuke was now trembling with quiet fury. In that night, they were attacked, the Kyuubi appeared out of nowhere, and he had no choice. How and what exactly it happened, I have no idea. He died without telling me anything. I'll dig everything up, I will find it. Come back tomorrow for your Chunin vests and maybe uniform. Hiruzen replied as the two shunshined away after they saluted. Sasuke however was visibly disturbed by many news. The Uchiha shunshined after he gave the Sandaime a very serious look. The old man nodded at him, meaning that they would talk about it later. Hokage-sama, do you trust Sasuke? Kakashi asked Hiruzen, who sighed. His brother is our best spy. The old man replied as he erected a seal. You see, your plan was kind of flawed, as training them unlike how you trained wasn't a good idea. You had no idea how to train genins, but yeah, you did an amazing job, Kakashi. 3 months. 3 months of true training, and they're already promoted. I don't doubt that they would be Jonins before long. Hiruzen replied sadly, Sasuke is like a mini Madara, while Naruto is like a chibi female Shodai. I don't know what to think about their astronomical progress. But I wanted to ask you, Kakashi, how about you try to surpass a hero called Sakumo-san? I can't use the Kage Bunshin in less to half my training time, but I think that it is a good idea. Is there something wrong? Kakashi asked as Hiruzen gave him a very wise look, worthy of his life as a true supreme Kage shinobi. War is on the horizon, Kakashi. I don't know how, but these two are the key to our victory. They're just a very rare phenomenal kind of ninja. Hiruzen replied sadly. You told me that Sasuke-kun was able to save his teammate and kill her attacker in one fell swoop, despite the fact that he's at least a Tokubetsu Jonin level. That was more than enough for me. Also, I know about Naruto's Kekkei Genkei, and so far, only she, Sasuke, you and me know about it. Better keep it under a very tight wrap. Kakashi nodded at him. I think that you should get them these books. Trust me, it will be for the best. Maybe I did misjudge you, Sandaime. Kakashi thought. You know, I still don't understand why Itachi, the pacifist, the kind, the nice person would slaughter his clan single-handedly. I highly doubt that. Maybe he wasn't alone. Maybe he snapped. Who knows his real motives? Hiruzen replied seldomly. Anyways, he said that he will be providing us with intel as long as his brother is safe and sound. So, Sasuke isn't really focused on revenge as he used to, but he said that he have many people to kill once. I have no idea who they are yet. Kakashi replied forlornly. That was alarming. He still remember that possessive protective Sasuke, how he would do anything for his Naruto. I dare say that the Uchiha Sasuke have matured. He is a real deal, but then again, I don't know what to say about him. He's definitely a yandere, you know that, right? Naruto is definitely a tsunere most of the times, and he's an overprotective yandere. But it took them this long to notice, and I am happy for them. Hiruzen beamed at Kakashi truthfully. It was rare to find such quality of shinobi. Let's just hope that Sasuke doesn't snap. He'd probably know about Jiraiya being Naruto's godfather. Kakashi replied and Hiruzen shrugged. So what would the kid do? Jiraiya is feared as a high S-rank ninja. And he should be very careful with her, or Sasuke will definitely pull a page from my book. Oh, you mean that Sasuke will kill Jiraiya? Hiruzen asked Kakashi, who sighed, yet he nodded. Kakashi, how strong your student is. He's always restraining himself, but he told me that being an A rank is his standard of being a Chunin. Being an S rank is his standard for being a Jonin. He might have very well noticed my hidden strength. Kakashi replied as Hiruzen nodded. It was a good thing that Kakashi kept his training. He was the strongest Jonin in the village. All he needed to do now is. No. Minato's seal must never be broken, yet. So, now what should we do? This is a political nightmare for an old man. Her promotion I mean. Hiruzen asked Kakashi, who smirked. Send them to me and good young Sasuke. Kakashi replied as he could barely retain his bloodthirst for these bigoted fuckers. Or better yet, sick Naruto on the rest of the rookies. They will realize that they have a mountain to climb. With Naruto and Sasuke the Uchiha sighed as he followed his teammate. The girl sat at the head of the Yondaime and was thinking hardly about many things. Like how her own father have betrayed her, how she was promoted just like that, how her Gigi wasn't actually a liar. Sasuke was wrong about something for once. But when he talked it was like a fact. What was the Uchiha's end goal? She have no idea. Sasuke, what's your true end goal? What's your true dream? Naruto asked the Uchiha, and she didn't have to turn to feel him tensing. She sighed, look, you were wrong for once, which is neither a good nor a bad thing. But really, I want to trust you, and maybe, I don't know, give you some love back. Naruto replied as he wrapped his arms around her slender waist, and he tensed as he touched her stomach. Itachi, he thought of his deceased son. He realized right then and there, this was his only chance of repentance and atonement. My end goal. It is to avenge them. My parents, your parents. Also, my dream. To unify this torn world of ours. As for you giving me some love back, I don't know. You do whatever you feel is right. But we're just 12, so maybe when we get older. And maybe I ask your hand from your, well, I know a lady who would love to have a daughter, and she's a blonde just like you. About trust, did I ever betray it? No, you never betrayed my trust. But really, why do you focus on vengeance like this? I mean, sure you're strong, like much stronger than you think, but then again, I honestly can't afford to think that you. Well, die, I just can't bear that pain of being alone. Naruto replied as she felt his hands on her cheeks, whipping her now shed tears. So, I don't care. Just, you should not be concerned of returning my love, because soon enough, you will. Finally, I will not die on you, no matter what. Sasuke replied seriously. I can't bear that pain too. God knows that I know that better than anyone else. Sasuke, did you have a girlfriend who died? Naruto asked and the Uchiha debated with himself before he sighed. I don't know. Like it is a yes, but currently, no. Who is she? I will tell you. On your 15th birthday. Sasuke replied as she gave him a raised eyebrow. Then, she felt a pang of jealousy stab her. Oi, do not say Ino, Sakura, Tenten nor Hinata or else. She threatened as he grinned at her before he gave her a knowing smirk. None of them. He replied. I'm a Naruto sexual. He added mentally as he shivered, but I'm straight, no offense to Sai. He then gave her a serious look, as she was planning to bug him until he will confess to her, don't even think about it. He said as he poked her forehead with 2 fingers, sorry, Naruto, but I will tell you everything later. He felt that Itachi was probably dancing by now. Oh really? Let me ask you. What do you think about these? Naruto pointed at her whiskers and he blushed. Cute. Sasuke replied and she blushed. Really Sasuke, you really are. Hopeless, you know. She replied and gave him an unimpressed look. He shrugged. Shut up you flattering, smug, kind, magnificent bastard of mine. Oi, I object on the whole, kind, thing. I'm planning to invade and destroy an entire shinobi village made by a nuke nin. I plan to kill the devil himself, and I plan to kill someone. Let alone anyone who hurt you. Sasuke ranted only for Naruto to get closer to him and connect their lips, making his hair rise like he was literally struck by electricity. And it was electrifying actually. You smell like honey and oranges. Sasuke blurted. He then slapped his own hands over his mouth in embarrassment. Naruto however, gave him a smirk. And you smell like ozone in a firestorm. Somehow. She asked as he gave her a cocked eyebrow. Really? He smelled like his 2 affinities, well, original dual affinities. You taste like nectar, orange and honey. He replied as she was blushing at this. That how dare he? Oh it was on now. And you taste like peppermint mixed with strawberries. Naruto chirped at him as he smirked. This was a game he was enjoying. You're kinda cute, kinda terrifying, kinda insane, kinda misfeeing. Sasuke observed as she smiled at him. Thanks. You're kinda girly looking, yet manly acting, kinda strong, yet kinda vulnerable sometimes, kinda dark and terrifying as hell, kinda sweet and likable. She responded. It was becoming a very long game now. Well, I know that you have that jealousy inside of you. Yet you're very affectionate deep down. He smirked. It was true that Naruto sometimes, well, most of the times, was the only one who can come in contact with him, and not becoming a target for him. And you're kinda possessive, yet at the same time, you do everything to make me happy. Naruto squealed as the Uchiha sighed. You're too forgiving. He replied. You're too callous. She replied. Oh, you want to fight then? Sasuke asked as she glared, well, Mock glared at him. Anytime and anywhere you want, Sasuke-chan. She replied and he felt his blood boil. What are the rules? He asked and she smirked. Taijutsu only, no chakra. She replied and he smirked. Okay, tomorrow after our meeting at the Hokage. He smirked and she just laughed. You fell for it, Sasu-tem-kun. She replied as he sighed. Not adding anything. She asked. Quote. Really stop giving me the silent treatment. She started to crack. Quote. What did I do wrong? Now she was panicking. Would he break up with her? You could have just asked. He replied as she sighed. And no, I am not breaking up. Not even death itself. He then stopped as he sighed dejectedly, miserably, regretfully, sadly and bleakly. Her death was the beginning of his journey. Sasuke, really, I am starting to grow very worried about your well-being. We can always go to a shrink if it will help you. She asked and he shook his head. Okay, walk me around. She asked and he sighed. It's Sunday. Our resting day. Look, it does matter to me. Okay, fine by me. He replied as she hooked their arms together. He smiled at her affection. Streets Naruto and Sasuke walked together for a while. They were kinda deep in thought. It was early morning. As they walked through the commercial district, they didn't even notice that they were before the Yamanaka flower shop. A purple blur attacked Sasuke from behind as it wrapped two slender arms around his neck, with a loud, Sasuke-kun, squealed by said blur. The Uchiha elbowed said blur reflexively before he glared at her. Ino, we need to talk about man-stealing. Sasuke told her with an angry growl. It was like a lion waiting to pounce at an idiotic gazelle. He might look majestic, but he had no interest in her. Man-stealing. What are you talking about? She asked before she tried to hug him, only for him to push her. Unless you want a beating, back off. He warned one final time. I don't think that you are a girl beater, Sasuke-kun. Ino squealed before a tanned arm was wrapped around her neck tightly in a blood-air rear choke. Sasuke smirked as Naruto brought Ino to her knees. Bullying me, I can tolerate. Dieting instead of training, I can forgive. Trying to win Sasuke like some sort of prize when he was available, I can completely forget about, but stealing my Sasuke-tem from me will earn you a one-way trip too. Naruto tightened her hold, Ino's face became bluish, her eyes bloodshot, her tongue getting out of her mouth, the shorter blonde continued. The grave. She finished before she let her go as she giggled mirthfully. Ino glared at her. What do you mean you're Sasuke-kun, Naruto baka? Ino shrieked as she took heavy gulps of air. Damn, Naruto became stronger. He's my boyfriend. Sasuke, please tell Ino-chan about you and me. Naruto replied as she asked her boyfriend in a childish manner that made him laugh. Good one, Naru-chan. Well, you see, if that kiss didn't convince you, then how about? It is official. She's not just my girlfriend, but one day, Naruto and I will get married. Probably if we survived. Also, tell Sakura and every other fangirl that it is not a good idea, cause next time, she will personally kill any skunk who think that she can get her grubby meat hook on me. Sasuke announced as Naruto giggled while Ino was struggling to come with that reality. Sasuke-san, can I ask you what made you love Naruto? Ino asked the Uchiha who smirked. She's strong, trained to exhaustion, diamond-willed, an amazing kunoichi in making, and most of all, she have an amazing personality. She saved you, Sakura, Hinata and anyone else from bullying at the expense of her own health. I know that. She offered Sakura her food, she offered to pay off a country's debt, and was extremely productive to our team. Need I say more, huh? Sasuke asked coldly only for Naruto to glare at him. Oi, don't be mean to Ino. I know that she's not your type, but she's a good girl down beneath. Naruto defended her and the Yamanaka bowed her head to the Uzumaki girl. I misjudged you, Naruto. Ino apologized. So, can we be friends at least? Since you're not lying, why not? Uzumaki Naruto, I like training, cooking, gardening, and especially, the tem. She replied and Sasuke sighed. I'm off then. I think that we need a pause for thought. He replied as he went to meet Shikamaru and maybe Shino. The two girls then chatted until Ino finally brought the whole fashion thing. Naruto sighed as Ino almost shredded her odd choice in clothing. It was not by choice. I really don't like wearing orange as a ninja, but I doubt they'd sell me anything else. Naruto finally told Ino her secret and the Yamanaka was shocked. Then, she dragged the girl with her to the Hyuga compound as she went in and brought Hinata of all people. "Hinata-san, I think that we must do something about Naruto's odd style in clothing," Ino announced as the Hyuga was thinking before she nodded. "Okay, but can I get a haircut first? I want to surprise that precious Tem of mine," Naruto told the two girls who nodded in glee. "Oh, this will end up even better. A girl's day out. And with the quiet one and the secretly shy one. Sakura is so gonna explode when she learns of this." With the boys, Shikamaru muttered his discomfort of being practically dragged by one Uchiha to an Aburame. Said Uchiha was adamant that Shino was tolerable in his book, well, tolerable enough at least. The Nara then greeted his classmate who returned the greeting. Surprisingly, the Uchiha was kinda talkative if a bit angry at them about something. "So, Shikamaru, what do you think about Naruto?" the Uchiha asked the Nara who sighed. "She's a very rare type who can reach an amazing potential." Shikamaru replied honestly and Sasuke smirked, "You did a good mistake becoming her boyfriend. I mean, she's as troublesome blonde, and good luck controlling her." At this, Sasuke gave him a cold glare. "What the fuck did you mean by control?" Sasuke replied coldly yet calmly. Shino immediately ran to defuse the situation. "Sasuke-san, Shikamaru-san meant no harm. He just wanted to tell you that he thought that you would choose a meek life partner." Shino's honest words made Sasuke scoff, yet send him a grateful glance. "If I wanted meek, I'd choose Hinata. I wanted a playful, mischievous, strong, fierce, and most of all, unique," he replied as Shikamaru nodded. "Troublesome subject to talk about. So, who plays shogi?" Shikamaru asked and the other two boys smirked. "This is an interesting morning. So, what did your senseis teach you too?" Sasuke asked his two comrades. "Sasuke-san, are you trying to gauge us?" Shino replied as the Uchiha shook his head. "Not quite. We improved tremendously from Kakashi's teaching. That man is an amazing jack of all trades. Nin, Tai, Gen, Fuin and tactical, tracking. You name it, he got it. The only thing is senjutsu, and I don't think that I can learn it. For a very long time. I got curious." Sasuke replied as Shikamaru muttered troublesome Uchiha but relented nonetheless. "Asuma sensei taught us some chakra control exercises, and made us train in our clan jutsus. He also, well, made us spar with each other and refined our taijutsu." Shikamaru replied and Sasuke was silent. Shino then replied to his look. "Okay, the same with Kurenai sensei, but add genjutsu and Iryo ninjutsu for Sakura-san." Shino replied as the Uchiha sighed in dismay. "Well, Kakashi made us break our limits each and every day. As for the chakra control exercises, I already knew and shared with my teammate." Sasuke smirked how Shino raised an eyebrow. It was the Ibarame's way to show his utter shock. The Nara asked the Uchiha who smirked. "So, you and Naruto are stronger than us?" Shikamaru asked as Sasuke cackled. "Word of the wise owl. Be careful," he warned. "I'll be." Shino replied seriously. "I'm not going to fight you too, am I?" Shikamaru asked as Sasuke shrugged. "Holy schmally I am." Shikamaru paled. He felt it. Sasuke was not even close to that deathly aura, he was like hell on earth. "Sasuke, I'd like to know, will you leave this village?" "I'm afraid that now. It depends on fate for a while." He sighed. "Great, I sound like a fate-obsessed girly-looking dickish bastarded blind-hearted swine." "Huh?" the other two asked as the Uchiha sighed. Then, they brought the shogi board and they started 3 games. Shino vs Shikamaru, Shikamaru vs Sasuke and finally, Sasuke vs Shino. Oh, that was interesting. Sasuke almost won against Shikamaru. And best thing, Shikamaru-Shino won against Shikamaru but lost to Sasuke's strategy. Shikamaru however examined the board and saw something. Sasuke was too focused on protecting the king, but he didn't sacrifice many pieces. That meant, I lost. If this was a war, I'd have been too weakened to fight back. Shikamaru said as the Uchiha smirked at him before he shunshined after a lazy wave. The two glanced at each other and were glad that Sasuke was a bit dumber than them, well, not a lot, just less than a hair. With the girls Naruto shook her head at Ino's insisting of buying her some lingeries. Well, some sport bras and girls' boxers. The blonde Uzumaki sighed. She appreciated the kindness, but that was too much. They threatened to tell all of their fellow kunoichis about Naruto's situation, especially Anko and Kurenai. Since these two knew many strong kunoichis, the store clerk was easily eager to make a discount on anything Naruto will buy. It was a shopping spree. But what if my Tem-kun sees me? Naruto argued and Ino shook her head in disapproval. Really? All the better then. Ino replied with an evil grin. Naruto shook her head. Who are you? My mother. Naruto asked sarcastically. Ino thought about it before she replied seriously. Yes. I am your mother. Now then, you will buy them, and some swimming suits too. Naruto was shocked at the bossy tone. She looked at Hinata who giggled. I back Ino-san completely, Naru-chan. Hinata's tone was clear. No discussion. Et tu, Hina-chan? Naruto asked dramatically. As the Hyuga heiress nodded, the Uzumaki girl held her heart. Betrayed. Backstabbed by my best friend. I'm dying. I'm dyeing your hair blue. Naruto then showed Hinata her tongue. You will be pranked, Hina-chan, best friend or not. Naruto chirped and the Hyuga gulped before she replied. Worth it for your own good. She replied as Naruto and Ino giggled. The way to the beauty saloon was a very talkative one, although Hinata didn't say much, she enjoyed the two girls' company. At the end, Ino had an evil smirk as she turned to the Hyuga heiress. Hinata-chan, you better tell Sakura about this turn of events, lest you want her to always trying to attack Naruto and, well, harm herself. Ino asked the heiress who shook her head. Sakura had already moved on. Kinda, from her crush. She's now completely focused. I just hope that she can take it the good way. Naruto had become much stronger if I say so. Hinata's tone was very sure. Naruto gulped at that. The heiress was much smarter than she showed actually. So, you and Sakura? Naruto asked the heiress who sighed. A long story. We're here. Hinata answered as they got in. Ino to trim her hair, Hinata to wash it, and Naruto to cut it. She really hoped her Tem liked short hair. Sasuke's apartment. The Uchiha napped for a while. His sleep pattern was not a good thing actually. The less known the better. But Naruto's presence calmed him down enough to sleep well enough at night. His awareness was always high, but he could allow himself some deep sleep. Then he heard the door click, and dear God, he was almost blinded. His blonde teammate wasn't joking about cutting her hair short. Her scrunchy pinned pigtails were gone, her bangs remained, although shorter and kinda. Well, she had a bang on her forehead and two others framing her face. Her hair was kinda spiky at the middle as it was now probably a bit below her shoulders. He was also shocked that she decided to paint her nails orange, and had a ceiling scroll. Like what you see, Tem-kun. Naruto teased as Sasuke sighed as she twirled, showing him that her hair was indeed short, like an inch or two below her shoulders. He whistled. You bet. I can finally drown in these two beautiful blue eyes of yours, and I think that I now like short hair. But if you want to let it grow. He replied as he had a blush. She giggled. He really liked her more than he showed. Smiling in a predatory manner, she asked him one question. Am I cute? And that did it as he pulled her into a chaste kiss, a forehead kiss after he removed her bang, and finally he carried her by her thighs and waist as she swore he said, mine, as he did so. Hey, you are very cute now. You're kinda short, and short hair highlights that cuteness of yours. But long hair, well, means that you're that amazing beautiful young girl, who will be an amazing woman in kunoichi. And that made her kinda blush. She winced as she walked a bit to the couch. As Sasuke sat down, she put her legs on his lap. Sasuke however was observant enough to get the unspoken message. As he put his hands on his girlfriend's calf, she looked at him as he started rubbing them, not minding in the slightest. So, why did you decide to cut your hair and do your nails? Sasuke asked Naruto who was kinda enjoying how his hands trailed to her small, sore feet. Kurama didn't heal her for once. As if he wanted this to happen. Well, it was getting in the way, and I thought, maybe short hair is better. Besides, it's just hair, and it grows up fast. Naruto then suddenly closed her eyes and moaned in utter delight, earning Sasuke a satisfied smirk. What could possibly get you this tired? Sasuke asked as the girl was enjoying all this. He remembered how she absolutely loved this. When I had to walk practically all the way in a mad shopping spree with Ino and Hinata, so, thanks a lot, Sasuke-kun. Naruto sighed blissfully as she had never expected Sasuke of all people to rub her feet. The Uchiha was looking at her stomach, then at her face, which was blushing. As he heard her sighing, he then smirked at the prank idea he had. Say, Naruko-chan, you have an amazing cuteness, you know. He asked and she nodded. Then, she started to use her legs to sweep his thighs. Oh really? Thank you, Sasuke-kun. Naruto then flared as he used his chakra to stick to her ankles, and then he played with her toes. She blushed as he smirked at her. You're welcome, Naruko Hime. He smirked as she cursed him under her breath. The Uchiha had an evil savage grin before he tickled her feet, but he was kinda surprised to see how ticklish she was. Ha ha ha, stohohaha pihihiheet. I'm tihihayakla hihihihish. Naruko was literally laughed her lungs out. As he stopped, she glared at him. Don't you ever do that again, you evil-doer Tem. She threatened. His smirk became a grin by then. Good to know how to punish you, Naruko-chan. He replied jovially as she glared at him. What's your weakness? I mean, I tried to tickle you, I tried to do anything to know it, for 3 months. Oh I see. She replied as she darted at him, pinned him down and kissed him as she opened her eyes this time. His blush, his now rising hair, his widened eyes. It all made sense. Then Naruko begun giggling like a school girl. What's so funny? Sasuke asked her as she smirked at him seductively. You know, the Uzumaki clan have a tradition. The would-be husband must kiss his future wife's feet. You would do that, no? Naruko asked Sasuke, who sighed but nodded. I was joking. I mean, why should you? Besides, you're too easy. Well, not that I mind. But yeah, I like my man proud, strong, and most of all, just like you. She then kissed him again. Sasuke was blushing like one of his beloved tomato by then. I am your only weakness. I admit that you're right about that. However, it took something very. Let's talk about it sometime later. He replied seriously and grimly. He still haven't come to term that future Naruto died with their son. Say, do you still want to be the Hokage? The one who protects everyone, no paperwork, no answering to anyone. Like total freedom. As Sasuke asked, she nodded. Do you want to share it with me? I think that if this is how close we are as a young couple. Maybe when we're married we'll share everything. Eve writing. She deliberately dragged her word. Sasuke sighed at the jab before he replied. Okay. Also, you clearly don't like the whole idea of, you know, what you said earlier to me. She gave him an unimpressed look. I'd never do so in public. But you're the only person I can see myself married to, and feel anticipation, happiness, and hope. Sasuke, am I that special to you? She looked at him in his eyes, as he nodded and caressed her cheek, she found herself do the same. Also, I never thought that you would give me a foot rub. You should do it. Sometimes, puis. She asked cutely and he shook his head. This girl will be the end of him. The happy end of him. Fine, but, why did you have a crush on me, and asked me to spar with you regularly? Sasuke asked Naruto, who sighed. Because you're the only one who understood me. You didn't mock me, never bullied me, and when you heard about my dream, you told me to work harder for that. Naruto replied as he smiled warmly as he thought how it begun. It started with a piggyback, a kiss, and a few spars. Now they belong to each other. Sasuke prayed that his good luck will never end. Little did he know, that it was an hour of answering said prayers. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.